Welcome to the Friday Flow Show, everyone. It's going to be a little shorter. I got to dip out a little bit before close, but as always, we're just going to kind of look at some flow that's coming in, and feel free to ask questions per usual. And yeah, let's get this thing started here. Stay golden. What's up? Let's see. Zigford, what's up? Oh, the flow kind of slowed down a little bit here, but see what we get. Yeah, I gotta dip out of here about 2:45 here. Dog's getting fixed, so we got to bring him in for blood work before. So just got to dip out a little bit, so hang out for a half hour or so. But that flow, I know Zigford, you were looking at those Palantir puts from yesterday. Those had a good high today, so I mean, if you would have bought that dip in the morning, good little move on those. But I'm trying to see. Oh, those ended up going in the money. That's why that hit a high there. I was confused. I was like, well, it doesn't look like it hit that high. But yeah, when you get in the money, that delta really moves on those contracts. Those Intel calls, too, from earlier. Absolutely wild move on those. I mean, very quick, too. Very quick move on those. The DVN calls. Those made a small little move, 65 up to 72. The SPY calls, I think those are back to break even now, 399. Close to break even. That would have been a wonderful dip buy on something like those. The BSX calls from yesterday, 235. They hit 290 today. Good move on those. Oops, hit the mic there. Probably don't want to do that. Those U puts. This was really interesting. I thought these were yeah. I know it's hard to short Palantir just knowing how wild that thing is. But yeah, those U puts yesterday, I thought that whale exited. See, this is why I'm like, not all bid side flow is an exit, because look at how much of that open interest carried over into today. Most of that carried over, and I mean, those hit 154 from that 117 entry. That's why I'm not always like, oh, that whale exited, because it's, you don't know until that open interest updates. Both those Pan West calls, and I haven't really looked at any of the flow yet. I haven't updated my spreadsheet or anything. It'll be after hours, probably a little later this evening. Yeah, it looks like they might be taking a loss, 750 there. Could be cutting. I mean, we don't know till Monday. Those the quad U calls. Those moved good yesterday, a little pop, and then, I mean, good move there, 209, actually 250 today for a high. It's getting clapped now. Actually, they're only almost just back to break even there. That's interesting. The Palantir puts, we looked at those GM puts. Not really anything good on those. Obviously, a little time on those. See, like, this is, I know, like Zigford, you know, and Stay Golden. Like, this is why I'm always just telling people, look for those discounted entries. You're only 3% out of the money with a lot of time on those. This is where I'd be looking to get a discounted entry on something like this. Let's see, the PL calls. These were interesting. So 70 here. 68. This was down like 5% yesterday, but we just didn't have anybody trading it to get any good contract info on it. But some time on those. Starbucks calls. I think that whale cut those. Yeah, I'm guessing that whale cut there, 132, 108. Yeah, I think that whale cut those ones. The Coors puts, those moved good today. 78, I actually had a couple of those. The Hims puts, that thing, massive move there. That whale, it looks like 923 here. Let's see what's coming. Oops, sorry. C2. Yeah, that whale's still in those. But, like, this is why I'm like, you don't have to just always follow the whale fully. I mean, 251 up to 462, 505. You should have a stop on. You should be taking some profits on that. See the Halliburton calls. Move on those. Hitting a high today. The AMD puts, those pop too a little bit. 406. We hit 510 yesterday. The Fig puts, beautiful move on those ones. IBM calls those, massive move on those ones too. Jeez. Holy crap, I didn't even realize how much those ones moved. Yeah, and that whale's still in those too. 4% in the money. Good move on those ones. The AA calls, those moved good too. 32. I mean, they opened at 42. That's a really good percent move. Then that flow from last week, the NVTS calls, I mean, moved there into 22nd. What was that? Tuesday. 145. Good move on those. And XE, yeah, good move. I mean, that flow's been on target. See, and I know there was somebody that was complaining in the group, like, I'm not seeing any good flow. Like, it's right here. I'm just confused where I'm not seeing the good flow posted. But, so you try to help them and they don't always listen. That's the thing. See what we got coming in here, those micro strategies. So, like, something like this. Again, expiring next week. You're coming in above the ask, but 28% out of the money. You're gonna, I mean, you need a move on the day there to get anything, but Theta's gonna just eat those over the weekend. A lot of BE, a lot of energy plays coming in here. And I think earlier, yeah, we had those XLE calls. Longer dated XLE calls. But yeah, just a lot of SPY calls. Those SPY calls this morning, those were, I just don't like how they hit before that data, but I mean, that just reads good there. See what else we got. MU calls 21 days, so not coming in right at the ask, but let's take a peek. So premiums are bid side on there. So again, example, like I usually always say, I don't have any flow to go off before where that's coming in, where I can kind of read how that flow that's coming in here is impacted by previous flow. Like that, yeah, I have to pass on that. And Zigford, I know you were in here last week. I don't know, Stay Golden, if you were in here either, but my cough is a lot better, as you can tell. A lot better. Riot calls. I think I posted, did I post those riot calls in the long-term flow? Yes, I did. Nice. Perfect. I had to look. I was like, did I post those? Yep, right there. Good move on those. Really good move on those. I mean, really far out of the money, but keep in mind a lot of that time. Yeah, good move on those. See what else we got. Yeah, just a lot of multi-leg stuff. 10, 17, 20 call. 246, 270. Yeah, small little move on those. Some time on those. Let's look at the flow, how it looked, though. Let's take a peek. Sup simulation. So yeah, like this one, I mean, you see that bid side come in. IV drop there. Coming in at the bid. That's something I don't, yeah. Simulation told me a really funny joke earlier, and I ended up spilling my drink, and it decided to come out of my nose because somebody thinks they're a comedian now. But yeah, I like those the BKKTs here. I just don't like that IV drop and how it's kind of bouncing around there. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, after tonight, I kind of want to do a live on TikTok a little bit later too. I'll see how much energy I have after getting everything and doing the flow recap, but I'd like to at least do a couple TikTok lives here too, maybe this weekend. I'm trying to get Keith to hop on one with me too. I know he's interested in doing some of those. Those Intel calls, obviously, we got in before these ones. And typically, I won't post double flow like that, like we had the other Intel calls. These were the 40 calls, I think. Wait, let me go look at the flow here. Flow alerts, let's see, Intel, the 39 call, that's what it was. So that 39 call, where are we? Right here. So, I mean, typically, if I already posted that flow, I'm not going to post double flow on there. That's just me. It gets kind of congested in trading then. All right, what just came in? I heard a ding. Multi-leg MicroStrategy. Nope. And bid side stuff, just not always a fan of the premium selling stuff. I mean, you don't get a lot, and very selective. If it's a very slow day, I kind of hang out in that channel a little bit more, but typically, I'd say probably 90% of everybody in here is probably buying calls and puts. Yeah, let's see how we're looking here. So Tide, I mean, your market Tide's just, I mean, premiums dropped. I mean, call volume's up. Put premiums are down. Put volume obviously dropped off there. But yeah, I mean, you're not getting really any direction here. How are we looking for the week? I mean, honestly, you're pretty flat for the week here. Your last 7 days. And obviously, you got your move off that big spike there. Oh, that was a big sneeze. Okay. Now I got the sneezes. I can't decide if I want to sneeze or if I want to cough. But the cough, I mean, last week's video was a nightmare to get through. But I'll tell you, feeling a lot better now. How are we looking for SPY premiums? So a lot of net call premium on SPY. Put premium dropped off. How's this looking on a bigger scale? So price is a little diverged from that. But yeah, I mean, you're just not seeing a lot of premium over the last week. Hang on, let's see. I'll pull that for you here, simulation. Give me a second. Let's take a peek at that for you. Let's see. So this is the... Am I blind? I don't see the actual contract here. Let's see. Do you have that contract simulation? Because I don't see it on the alert there. Unless I'm just blind here. Let's see. 19, wanna know. I don't see it there. No, that's okay. Let's see. Okay, perfect. That's even easier for me if I don't have to look up a contract. Let's look at your SMCI's highest volume. So, okay, that 53 calls. See, oh, that's today's expiration. Okay, let's. So 9/18/26. So next September, seeing some ask side there, big premium there, simulation. You're seeing some bid side on the weekly next week. Just looking for, okay, so longer term put, not a lot of volume, but smaller size. I'm interested in that 9/18/26. We can take a peek at that one. And I mean, clearly an opening trade. I'm just kind of doing a little math. 700, 1,000, 1,600, 9. You'd want to check that open interest on this one because it's about the same there. I have a hard time believing that somebody's probably closing almost a year out contracts from 12:30 to 12:55. My guess is this is probably ads. Let's look at the flow. And I don't have any flow to go around it, so I can't help you with that one. 69. I mean, that IV. you only got the 2 contracts. So yeah, it makes it tough to read that flow when you don't have other flow around it to see. But yeah, this is an interesting one here. I just double checked that open interest on Monday, but long-term one there, and then with your chart looking for a little bounce there, matches up. See, what else do we have? Yeah, lower premium ETF stuff. Obviously, I like the premium set at 250 just so I can kind of see everything that's coming in, but I'm not going to be posting something that's 260K premium. Maybe if it's a 0 day or something that's interesting, but this isn't interesting to me. Oh, let's see. Okay, simulation sent me a contract. Let's pop it in here. So, okay, with that, there's a lot of previous open interest on this one. I want to see when that came in. So, July, June. Could be building a position slowly. And my chart won't go all the way back to December here. Kind of slowly looking at that open interest, see if I see any big ads here. So I don't think. So I just don't like it being no side flow here. So when you're 42% multi-leg, let's see if we can find the multi-leg in it. Oh, it's going to be one of these multi-legs where it doesn't pull it and it's a cross trade. Those ones you can't really look at all. Kind of looking here. Yeah, the cross trade stuff I will always typically ignore just because it's messy and you really don't get a good direction on it. But that's an interesting one there. And 6, yeah, that's almost a mid-fill there. True, that's a really tough one to kind of go off of. I like that September one though, the 9/18/45 a little more than this one. If you made me pick, but interesting still though. I heard another day. Oh, Microsoft calls. Let's take a peek at these. So already some volume on the day on those, but smaller here. Let's take a peek. So right away, seeing 856 contracts here, kind of mixed at the ask and bid. Then another 857 here. Now this is something where you would have to check that open interest on Monday. Again, they could be exiting at the ask. You don't know. Could be exiting 718. Let's see, 740. Probably ads if you made me guess right now. I mean, that's 718 up to 740. I mean, not even like 3% on the contracts. Let's take a peek at them. So the IV does increase. So IV increases there. IV increases there. Let's look at that first candle. So it was 19.99 and 20. Let's take a peek at this one. See, so, okay. Pop this down. So, okay, that IV spikes there on the ask side. That looks good there. IV increases there. And this is a very educated guess that this is the same person. Look at your timestamp here. Just flow looks good coming up there. Then you have that IV increase again there. So that first one for sure I would probably say is opening flow. This one's a little harder to know until Monday, because with that IV decreasing in a couple, or well, no, that IV stays the same there and then goes up there. Yeah, could be ads. That's just again one that you have to check on Monday. Hearing that dingo off. Okay, some longer term puts. Again, not a lot of volume and premium. I mean, this is irrelevant to me. Let's see. Market's coming back. I think those SPY calls should be green now. 399, where are we at? 391. Yeah, we're just sitting right below break even on those. Let's see what we got from earlier in the day. yeah, just, I mean, this is just, that spread is so big where you can't really just do anything. And even these U calls, I mean, a lot of bid side and ask side there at open. And I kind of tend to stay away from posting that flow right at open just because you don't know exactly what's going on. IV's elevated, all that fun stuff. Like, you can see U opened up really high. They got the top there at the ask pretty much. And then here you are. It looks like they're almost buying them back right there. Sold them at 85. Looks like they're buying them back at 25. Those J&J calls. What time did these come in again? Oops, let's take a peek. 9:45. I know I looked at these. There's just a lot of volume on those, but obviously here you are again, making a move up. I'm going to have to do another flow read for the flow. I mean, that's good. Those rocket calls, those things were crazy. I mean, that thing popped right away. This would have been on a flow alert, but that's kind of why I made that spotlight flow channel. It's for flow that doesn't match like my earnings criteria. Like, obviously when I'm posting earnings flow, that's ending that week, so that it's a weekly contract the same week as the earnings. Like this flow, I mean, this is really textbook flow. I mean, 77.47, you're coming up here. And then there was a big trade, but I don't see where it went. Maybe it was before this. Okay, here we go. I mean, this is textbook flow, 73.28. You're coming in above the ask. And then you have that big spike here, that IV spikes there. I mean, this is textbook flow, and then that IV kind of drops a little bit after there, but you're about a minute thereafter. So like something like that, it's almost a gamble, but at first, like when I saw that flow, I'm like, this is textbook flow. It looks good, and obviously off to the races there. But like this, I mean, 56 days, you have earning in 46 days. It's hard to like post that as earnings flow because I can't really make a guess if it's actual earnings flow since it's expiring 10 days after. Does this whale know something is coming before then? Whatever. I mean, it's a lot of guessing games going on there. Heard another ding. Let's go see where that was. Hood calls coming in here. Okay, let's take a peek at these. These are interesting. So, oh, well, I jinxed it. I said it was interesting. And here we are, 2,000 there. 2,000 there. Yeah, one where you're going to have to you'd have to wait till Monday to see 7% out of the money with time on them. Yeah, no flow in the front to go off of that one. And then you have that IV drop there. Let's see what that flow looks like before. So this is why I'm always like, you need to see that flow prior to that flow. So like this flow comes in, that IV drops. 56.19. And that's good premium there too. Yeah, to me those almost look like sells at the ask there. Then we had these NB. Okay, simulation. Let's read your tinfoil hat theory. Makes sense to me that an algo would pick up a contract with a bid and be master. Yeah, and that's almost something that you could ask Keith too, because he's actually been working on those desks, so he kind of knows. I honestly don't think market makers really care about retail or anything like that. I feel like retail pushes that theory out more than anything, but see, that's something that you'd want to ask Keith, because I mean, he has that actual knowledge, and that's one good thing about Keith and the tools he has. He has the professional trading desk. Like, we have Gamma and all that here, but his Gamma levels are coming from actual pro trading desks. That's one thing that's big there. That's like Unusual Whales is great, but if you're getting the levels directly from the professionals, the ones that are doing the trades and the market makers, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, no, that's a good question though, or tinfoil hat theory there, simulation. Let's look at these NBISs for next week. 10.3, 119 call. Not right at the ask, a little lower size, smaller premium. I probably wouldn't post something like this, but we'll look at the flow just for some education. Let's drop this down. So okay, your IV spikes when it starts to come in. That ask there is at the 125, so I want to see how that looks coming up here. Why is it... So we're coming at the ask, IV staying up. So okay, this is... So that... Just all that flow is making that bid ask expand there. It's up, Johns. And then you got that IV spike there as well. With that flow coming in, I would probably read these as a buy, because I mean that 125 seemed to have been the asking price the whole way up there. That looks good there. More Intel calls, long-term Intel calls. Oh, hey puppy. Somebody wanted to join. Oh, you got a pair of shorts. Cool. Good job, Hank. Good job. So 850, 862, so skews towards the ask, and obviously you've had Intel up so long, like something like this, you're going to wait for a discounted entry on. Oh, let's look at that flow. Oh, hold on, everybody. I have to grab this phone call real quick. I will be back in 30 seconds. All right, sorry about that, you two. I had a really important phone call I had to get there. I've been waiting all day for it, and of course it comes right now, but I'm probably only going to hang out a couple minutes anyways. I got a vet appointment for the pupper at 3:15 here, so I'm going to head out soon, but yeah, just kind of nothing else really coming in. I don't know where I was on that, but yeah, I'll be I'm planning on hopefully doing a TikTok live either tonight or tomorrow. I'm gonna try to hop on and do a couple more lives too. Especially next week, I'll have a lot more free time as well, so that's kind of the goal. But I think I might just end the live here. I mean, I've got 5 minutes left until I gotta hop off. Anyways, it'll just be a quick little live today. Might hop on later tonight. We'll see. I gotta mow the lawn and all that fun stuff. But sorry for the short live today, you two. But I'll probably hop on. I'll for sure do a TikTok live this weekend, and I'll have the flow recap video up as well later. But you two have a great weekend. I'll talk to you both later. I'll probably be on here. Keith will be on as well. So, all right, have a great weekend, you two.